12 years. Boy, am I going to fucking beat you now. Yeah? Good morning, everybody. We have some revelations. First of all, I tease Robert from Passau that it took a long time, and he admits that 13 years later it came. This is many years ago now, and I talk about another guy that took 12 years. He's another Austrian, but we find out there's another guy in the group here that had my book and knew about me 12 years ago. 12 years ago. Remember how I was saying? Just imagine if you were 20 or 15, and where you might be today. Not only 12 years ago did he have my book and know about me, he's a Romanian gypsy. My wife and I like Rwanda very much because of the silverback gorillas. But he also was introduced to me by one of my mentees who's up on that wall. Actually, two of my mentees are up on that wall. When he was at university. One was, they're both at uni, okay. University of Bucharest, correct? Yeah, okay. And that have been at the seminar. One has been here 3 times, and the other one has been here once, and all of which will be here for my 70th birthday in a couple months. And when he said this, it didn't process right away because he's not that old. But apparently you saw it when you were in university. Yeah, okay. But he didn't say, and I'll paraphrase what you told me, you didn't think it was for you at the time. You didn't think it was possible, right?
I thought it's for the rich guys. No?
Yeah, okay. Many of the people watching, many of the YouTube fucks think exactly the same. In fact, most. Which is, based on everything we've talked about, opens up Pandora's box about why do they think that way? How did they wind up that way? What the fuck did their parents do? I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. Because he thought it was for the rich folks. Well, with the greatest respect, there's nobody too rich in this fucking room. Unless, I haven't talked to everybody yet, but unless you're hiding something from me, and unless you left some information off all the information that you wrote about yourselves, we don't have any wealthy people. We have a few people that are well off by your standards and by industry or conventional wisdom standards. But, and that's what I've been fighting these 22 years since I started doing this, because they think it's for somebody else. And the truth of the matter is, just like my family, they thought, and except for me, they think that lifestyle, those things are for somebody else. So if you're taught from your 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 15 years old that it's for somebody else, it's more than a miracle if you would ever expose yourself to that. Of course, the other side of that coin is I tell you how hard it is, and so then for sure you cement in your little brain that it is for somebody else. Of course, you talked to Tony Kwong yesterday, and all the commentary I've gotten on that is excellent. But I haven't figured out how to use it so the YouTubers can benefit. Maybe I won't let the YouTubers benefit from it because I don't want everybody and their dog. I haven't asked Chris, who's doing it tomorrow, and Tony, who did it yesterday, when they were on Skype with us, or Tony was on Skype with us for 45 minutes. Because I don't want 80 million people calling them and bothering them, etc. But it brings, notwithstanding, I tell you, this thing's possible. And Robert's here for 11 times, and the people that are on the Hall of Fame should validate in your brain that it's possible when you hear somebody live. And I underestimated this. Again, never underestimate how fucking wrong you can be. I didn't think that was a requirement because I could have been doing this for years. And somebody told me, one of my marketing groups, it's a great selling tool, Dan. I'm not interested in that because I can't give enough seminars for everybody who wants to come now, so that's not the point. But it is a great teaching tool. And that's what I underestimated. I mean, I just did because I saw the look on your faces and the questions and it's like you were talking to Santa Claus. I swear to God, that's what it looked like. You know, I was standing back there and I'm going, fuck, what is it? Because Tony, with the greatest respect, Tony, you're not a great speaker. You're all right. You're not fucking, you don't look like James Bond, or, I mean, what the fuck? But you were hanging on every word the guy said, you know, and I did we put drugs in the Kool-Aid this morning, or what happened? I couldn't, but I still can't believe it. I woke up this morning about 3:25, and I thought, did I dream yesterday, or did all that really happen? And then, of course, I flipped over into thinking about Leonard knowing two of my mentees and actually going to university with them. We were saying it's a small world. It's a very, very small world. You know, that 6 degrees of separation or whatever it is, apparently is true. But it did work, and you'll get more, because it's a different kind of guy that you're going to talk to tomorrow. It's tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's a different kind of guy. I mean, this guy, he looks like he should have a name like Rockefeller or something, because that's, you know, that's the way he looks. He looks very upper class, you know, blue blood. He dresses that way. And his hobbies are very blue blood. And I think that's partially a product from being from the South, where they think the South shall rise again, you know. Of course, I was, as you know, I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, which when I was born at the end of World War II, it was called Baja, Georgia. They called it Baja, Georgia, because they wanted to make sure that they knew that they were part of the South. Of course, that's past now. It's not so vogue to be unless you're from there, to have fought for the South during the Civil War. Okay. Why, I asked the question before we started, why in vests, you're supposed to wear vests with the bottom button open? Who knows? I thought you said you knew. I think it was King Henry VIII, because he was so fat, he couldn't get the bottom button of his vest, and that's why bottom button is supposed to be open. And speaking of bespoke clothes, even though that's not necessarily bespoke, but Henry VIII's clothes, I'm sure he was a short, really big fat guy. The bespoke suits, meaning tailor-made suits, which doesn't really mean tailor-made, means handcrafted suits, are the difference between the regular suits and even tailor-made suit and a handcrafted suit or bespoke suit. Their suits are hand-stitched. This suit is hand-stitched. Some people, the real blue bloods, aristocracy, can look at your suit and tell if it's hand-stitched or machine-stitched. I can't. I don't know the difference. And what you do is the button's open, and you keep one button open, saying it's a bespoke hand-stitched suit. If you put two buttons open like I do, it's fuck yous, you cunts. And I know I've never done 3 buttons, but I've seen people with 3 buttons open. And and you learn this kind of stuff. You know, I didn't know any of this when I first came here from Los Angeles or New York City. In fact, to a business meeting, I wore an expensive, not bespoke suit, but a tailor-made suit, but it was dark brown. Because in America, past May, June, I forget what date it is, you can wear dark suits, summer suits, and then after September 7th or September 1st, you go back to dark suits. Well, in Britain, you wear dark suits all the time. And so I think it was July, and I was wearing a 3-piece, not 3-piece, I guess it was 2-piece in those days. And somebody, De Block Van Kuffler, took me aside and says, Mr. Peña, I just want to give you a heads up that those suits are unacceptable in the city. Unacceptable.
Gentleman in town never wears brown.
Yeah, exactly. Say it again.
The gentleman in town
never wears brown. Correct. You know, and I had about 25 of these kind of suits, which I never wore again. And you can, at the weekend, you can wear more sporty clothes. and it's interesting. So, but like I tell people, you want to dress British and think Yiddish. That's what they said when I first came here in '81. Dress British and think Yiddish. And into a great deal for the last 30 plus years, I have, and it's not derogatory against the Brits, and it's certainly not derogatory against Jews in any way, because the Jewish people in the city, were some of the founding fathers, Warburgs, etc., and a few others. Which Warburgs used to be my bank years ago, which has now been gobbled up into anything else. Okay, last night you went out and ate together, anybody have any commentary on what was the takeaway of all the bullshit that you heard from your fellow cunts? No takeaway. Must have been some real bullshit then. Okay, a different atmosphere. Which pub? Where'd you go to eat?
It's like an Australian theme.
You're at the golf course
In Montrose.
Oh, that's okay. They don't go there that often. Okay, yeah, it's nice, or not nice, but I mean, it's there. There's only one or two civilized, should I say? Maybe there's only one civilized restaurant here around, and that's not it. But we used to send them. We don't do this anymore. We used to send them back to Glen Eagles, which is a proper kind of resort. Now we're going to spend some time on characters of high-performance people, and the slide behind me refers to Steve Jobs, God rest his soul. And just about everybody knows Steve wasn't a nice guy. Okay, remember the definition of nice, the current terminology of nice. And I don't slag off anybody that's dead, and having met him many years ago. But he was obsessed, for sure, and I think in a good way, just as many of these on the wall of influencers. Steve's up there. But these are some of the things they used to say about him, and the insane ambition, tyrant, Jobs yelling at you was frightening. He was adopted. He thought computers were tools of oppression. And that's where he and I think Mr. Gates differed. Scully and Jobs, he asked Scully, which is famous now, do you want to sell sugar water, H2O, the rest of your life or change the world? Which theory or legend has it convinced him to come to be with, partner with Jobs, surpassing his whole sense of reality, irrespective of the facts. And I suffer from this myself. I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt, and I change the facts to align with my own thinking. I just do. Because I know people like you normally accumulated the facts. So there's bias. When you're a cunt and you're accumulating facts, quite often the facts aren't accurate. He would not hesitate to call you at 2 a.m., had not time for people he didn't respect, would fix in he used to sell you 25 seconds in an elevator. He didn't waste time living somebody else's life, and he always stayed hungry. Now, the interesting thing about Mr. Jobs, one of the interesting things, and we'll go into it, we don't have time for the YouTubers, is that he considered himself part of the superior race. And, when Hitler did that, it was not considered right, good. Of course, what Hitler did with it and what Steve Jobs did with it, two different things. But most of the high-performance people are wacko. I don't mean wacko like insane, but wacko because they're only interested in one thing, and that's normally their own ambition. They realize in recent years that if you want to make $1 billion, create something that helps 1 billion people. And just think about that vis-a-vis your own models. Okay, YouTubers, we'll talk to you later.